Well, hello, it's CMO, and today it's Dream Trip Day. What's up, everyone? This is Liz from Chief Mom Officer, where I talk all about money, work, and frugal family fun to help you reach financial freedom. And today I'm talking all about our dream trip to Japan. Now, we just got back a couple of weeks ago, and this was no ordinary trip. This was a trip that we saved and invested for nearly 20 years, since my husband and I got back from our honeymoon in Japan in 2001. So today I'm going to show you all the fun things that we did. If you're looking for some details on the money stuff and how we saved for it, be sure to check out the blog post in the description box below. So without further ado, let's take you on an epic Japanese vacation for 5. Back in 2001, shortly after getting back from our honeymoon to Japan, we decided to start saving for a trip in the future. Well, that future is now, and we were able to head back and bring along our 3 beautiful boys. So, first things first, had to fly out there. Early start. We headed over from the parking lot on the tram to the airport at around 7 a.m. for our noon flight. Grabbed some delicious breakfast. Then hung around the airport till it was time to get on our plane and fly from JFK all the way to Tokyo Narita Airport. Yes, that's right, a 14-hour flight, but the kids were troopers. Had a great time. We even got to see some Arctic ice as we flew over the North Pole. Here's the little guy having a blast on, I think, hour 10 of the flight. You can see he's quite a trooper, playing with his magnetic blocks and his little toy airplane that he was given. Before we knew it, we landed in Tokyo and went to our hotel, where we had the most amazing view. It turned out this was going to be the only day where the sky tree was not covered in fog, so we made sure to enjoy it while it lasted. Then we woke up at 2 a.m. with a very jet-lagged and confused toddler, and after letting him play for a little while, headed out on the subway to get over to Shinjuku. When we got off the subway, we were treated to this amazing sight here, and then we walked around the streets and got kind of lost for a little while. That's okay. Eventually we found this Disney store, which was really cool. They had these nifty little salt and pepper shakers, this adorable Baymax tumbler thing that I didn't get but wish I did, and a recreation of Andy's room from Toy Story. Isn't it cute? Then we found Tower Records, which ended up being one of my oldest son's top favorite things about Japan. They had a ton of awesome stuff and some really cool elevators. For lunch, ramen. We grabbed this delicious ramen at a ramen shop, and then essentially went back to the hotel and crashed from jet lag. The next day, we woke up refreshed, headed to a mall in Ginza where we found this cool robot, and we also found this square watermelon for 162 bucks. The mall even had this cute little cutout thing the little guy played with, as well as an awesome train set that he had so much fun with. We wandered around the streets of Ginza for a little while, just exploring, and found this toy park that we had also gone to on our honeymoon. The kids had a really great time playing with all the toys here. You can see how much fun they're having. Little guy especially really loved all the sample demonstration toys they had out, including these little robots. We saw a ton of Studio Ghibli stuff, including Panda Panda, which we almost never see in the US. Then for lunch, gyoza. Love gyoza. And for dessert, one of these adorable ice creams from Baskin Robbins. Then we found a Hello Kitty store, and we got to see some really adorable things. The boys went and hung out in a park to burn off some energy, and then we were attacked by Godzilla. The next day, we woke up early to grab breakfast before our tour started. Our first stop was the Sugidami Animation Museum, which was chock full of a bunch of different displays from the history of animation in Japan. If you're an anime fan, I highly recommend checking it out. Had a great time with the little guy coloring and also making some origami throwing stars. Then it was time to head to the Ghibli Museum. This is the top thing that our family enjoyed about going to Japan. Not only did we get stared at by a giant Totoro, but we also got to go inside this amazing museum. And if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, I highly recommend checking it out. You can't go wrong. It's going to be amazing. Unfortunately, they don't allow photographs or videos inside, but we were able to grab a bunch of cool shots of the scenery outside for you to enjoy. And the little guy and his big brother had a lot of fun at this water pump in the back of the museum. Time to grab lunch, and today it's tonkatsu, or fried pork cutlets. Delicious! After lunch, Nakano Broadway, an amazing shopping district where you can go and find pretty much any video game, anime, manga related items that you might want to get. After hanging out here for a little while, it was time to go to Akihabara, which is another otaku paradise in Japan. We saw a ton of cool stores and even this person making magic carp taiyaki, which is basically a crispy pancake that was filled with chocolate pudding. You could see my little Magikarp right here. He had fun when I ate him. Now it was time to explore Tokyo some more. But first, a delicious breakfast. This hotel had the best breakfast out of all the hotels we stayed at. It was a buffet style. We were able to get all sorts of things. My personal favorite was the Vietnamese soup, but my kids liked the fries, oranges, bacon, and this really cool spread that went on toast. So I wish they had this in the US. You just squeeze it and look, out comes chocolate and peanut butter that you just drizzle all over your toast. It's so clever, and I saw it all over Japan, and I've never seen it here. So get on that, companies. And look, there's even an adorable little kids cup. Then it was time to head to the Tsukiji Outer Market. Alex had a lot of fun pretend fishing at the market. So this is the famous Japanese fish market. There was a ton of cool stuff to look at. Then it was time to head to the Asakusa Cannon Temple, where we had gone before on our honeymoon. This is where I was attacked by pigeons nearly 20 years ago. You could see clearly that there was a pigeon stand where you could buy pigeon food, and the pigeons knew that you were buying food for them. So they would just keep landing on you in hopes of immediately getting whatever food that you had. We were actually hoping to find the pigeons again, but unfortunately they appear to have banned pigeons from the temple. So all we found were "Don't feed the pigeon" signs and maybe one actual pigeon. Then it was time for our sushi lunch, where we would learn how to make our own sushi. One common misconception amongst people who live in the US is that all Japanese food is sushi, but we actually had sushi, nabe, tempura in this meal alone, and tons of other non-sushi food while we were in Japan. Although, gotta admit, this sushi lunch was great. Next up, the Imperial Palace. This was a pretty cool spot where the boys had a lot of fun playing on the rocks, and we enjoyed the sights. Then we went to Tokyo Tower, or as it's now known, Tokyo One Piece Tower, where we got to head up in the tower again after 20 years and see how the landscape had changed. My oldest son went into the One Piece Tower theme park and had a good time while we went shopping, and I got to meet Hello Kitty again, so yay me! After dinner, we headed to the mall in Tokyo Skytree, where we got to go to an epic Pokemon store, which is one of the coolest places that I think we've been in when we went to Japan. It had pretty much every Pokemon you could ever think of. There was also Hello Kitty Japan in the same mall. We found the Kirby Cafe that we had read about before going to Japan and drooled over the menu. My boys wish we could have gone, but alas, you have to make reservations in advance. In the Skytree, we also found a Studio Ghibli store we liked even better than the gift shop at the museum. It had a lot of cool stuff. I got to meet Totoro again. Hello! And they even had this cool calcifer spatula. time to head to Mount Fuji. We hopped on the tour bus and started our long drive up the mountain. Now, when we had gone back in 2001, you could see that we had wonderful weather. You can clearly see Mount Fuji in the background of our photos, and doesn't it look amazing? Unfortunately, this time it was raining and foggy, and you couldn't see the mountain or anything around it. Oh well, it happens. We had a lot of fun anyway, and got to show the boys the sights we'd seen back when we went on our honeymoon. Soon we headed back to the bus, and it was time for Hatto Fudo for lunch. This was a delicious soup with dumpling noodles and vegetables. It was really good. I never heard of it before, but if you see it, I highly recommend you give it a try. After lunch, it was time to go on a ropeway up the side of a mountain near Mount Fuji. Unfortunately, we still couldn't see Mount Fuji, but we got a great view and some great ice cream. Then we hopped on a bullet train and sped on over to our hotel for the evening, where we were treated to this delicious kaiseki banquet dinner. Day 7, we woke up in our hot spring hotel, headed downstairs for breakfast, which was not as good as the first hotel, but still pretty good. Then went to the Ninja Museum. Little guy had a great time at the Ninja Museum, spotting all the hidden ninjas. My middle son decided to try his hand at throwing stars. Lunch was on our own, but we discovered these delicious potato croquettes. And then it was time to go to the Kiyomizu Temple, where we were treated to some amazing views, although we still couldn't see Mount Fuji, unfortunately, due to the weather. And after the temple, we went to the Kyoto National Museum, which had a lot of great exhibits. But unfortunately, Alex was not interested in any of the exhibits, and you had to be pin drop quiet, so we spent a lot of time outside with a water fountain. If you have a toddler, you will understand this. Then for dinner, it was time for both grilled and fried stuff on sticks, which was amazingly delicious. Day 8, time to tour Kyoto. Our first stop was the Golden Pavilion, which we had also seen on our honeymoon trip back in 2001. Then we headed to the Nishijin Textile Center, where we were treated to an awesome kimono show. We got to see a lot of different styles and fabrics of kimono, and all the boys really enjoyed it, even though fashion shows usually aren't their thing. Then we got to check out a bamboo forest. This was the first time we'd seen so much amazing bamboo in person. The bamboo forest was near the Tenryuji Temple, where we walked around, enjoyed the Zen garden landscaping, and saw some pretty cool shrines. But I will say our favorite part was actually the shops that were near the temple, where we could see all these cute characters, as well as a Miffy store. I don't know if you know who Miffy is. She's a little bunny. They had Miffy breads here. They even had little carrots that you could buy to eat and take home with pictures of Miffy on them. They had a tree for Miffy to swing in, and a lot of her friends. It was really cool. In the afternoon, we went to a traditional tea ceremony where we had this snack, and some wonderful folks walked us through a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. It was a lot of fun. We headed over to Gion, then we had dinner and got caught in a giant rainstorm. Day 9, busy day, Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka. Our first stop was the Fushimi Inari Shrine, which is famous for its appearance in Memoirs of a Geisha, where you can see the little girl running through all the red gates, just like Alex is reenacting here. We saw all these cute little gates that you can buy and put up near the shrine, and it also had the most amazing gardens and scenery that I've seen. As you can see here, it was beautiful, but very, very hot. And there were an awful lot of cicadas around. Then it was time to head to the Totaji Temple and Nara Deer Park. As you can see here, as we were walking towards the temple, many deer were just kind of hanging around. So the deer are rather famous at the temple. You can actually buy deer crackers and feed them, and they were there 20 years ago, back when we went. So we really enjoyed this temple. It was beautiful. It had some gorgeous statues inside that we were able to see of Buddha. And we were also able to walk around, see and feed the deer. And luckily, we did not get attacked by any rogue deer. After the deer park, it was time to head over to Osaka Castle, which was really amazing, very tall, had gorgeous views of the Osaka region. Then we headed over to Dontonbori. We saw this cool crab as well as a lot of great shopping and good food. My husband's favorite part though, pizza buns. Fresh out of the steamer.
Look.
Looks hot.
Great stuff.
Then sadly, it was our final evening in Japan, but we were sent off with this gorgeous double rainbow. On our last day, we headed to the Osaka airport where Pikachu pilot and Pikachu flight attendant were there to say goodbye. We also saw these really cool elevators and this nifty Pokemon store in the Osaka airport. Ah! Pikachu! What are you doing here? Are you trying to sell me stuff? Aw, good night. Have a good night's sleep. Ah, you're awake again. So after having some airport fun and this really cool meal from Japan Airlines, everyone kind of fell asleep on the flight home. Although someone got a second wind right before our final flight from O'Hare over to Newark, New Jersey. More energy than I had at that point. And what greeted us on the way home but a fireworks display. That was really cool. I've never seen fireworks from an airplane before, and it felt fitting after seeing the rainbow in Japan to say goodbye. We were now seeing some amazing fireworks to welcome us back home to the US. Thanks so much for watching. It was a lot of fun to share with you all the amazing and fun things we did over our 10-day trip to Japan. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button. Bilbo would like you to subscribe so you can get more of my content. Isn't that right, Bilbo? Yeah. You wish you came to Japan, but you didn't. You had to stay at home and be watched by my husband's sister. We had the best time ever. Again, if you're hoping to get some more details on the money and how we saved and invested for this for the past almost 20 years, be sure to check out the blog post in the description box below. I hope to see you again soon. Have an amazing day.